Hi there. Hi, everyone. I'm Jeannie Ralston. I'm the founder of NextTribe. I'm so glad you're here to hear more about Cuba. There's Joanne. Hi, Joanne and Mary. Hi there. How are you? Glad you could join us. Uh, so I want to introduce a few people to you, and then we'll talk more about what you'll be experiencing in Cuba. So first, I want to introduce Marla Ring Weitzman, who is will is our Cuba expert. She and her partner have been taking people to Cuba since 2020, I believe. No, 2000.
Yeah, 1999 actually was my first trip, and then we started in 2020.
Yes. So
And not 2020, 2000. So sorry.
I know exactly what you're, I know that, but it's very well versed in everything about Cuba, knows everyone there, knows the great things to do. And she and her partner Miriam have steered us into all the best experiences. So, and she also can answer a lot of the questions that people inevitably have about getting to Cuba. And it really is not as hard as you might think of. Yes, it's trickier than going down to St. Lucia or something in the Caribbean, but it is very doable, and Marla makes it more so. I want to also introduce Jeannie Edmonds, who will be on the trip. Jeannie, she's our Chief Operating Officer. Say hi.
Hello, Joanne. I know you're going on the trip. Mary, are you the Mary from Lake LBJ?
Yes, I
Great.
am.
Oh, you're so backlit. I remember. Of
Oh,
course, we went to dinner together.
we
Oh my
did.
God.
I moved to Washington State, so I'm not in
Oh,
Texas anymore. But yeah, I've always wanted to go to Cuba, so this sounds fabulous.
This,
great.
this is great. Good, good. And also I want to introduce Marcy Mitchell, who is our travel manager, and she's the one who will be working with you on questions and channeling them to Marla if necessary. She'll be your point person. Say hi, Marcy.
Hey everyone, I know I've talked to a couple of you on email and stuff. Joanne, I think I'll see you soon, won't I?
Yes, in October, Dia de los Muertos.
Okay, cool.
That's great.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have just a great way to look at the Cuba trip through photos, and now I just have to find, there it is. So give me a minute, because this is my Achilles heel, is making this all work. But here we are. Can you see this? Oh,
Yes.
There's too many things on here. Just give me a minute. Oh gosh. Okay, full screen. There we go. So, heart and soul of Cuba. We went last year. We were in February in 2024. It was our first trip there. It was a phenomenal trip. I have been to Cuba, had been to Cuba 3 other times before this. And so I thought I knew Cuba well, but really this got us so close to the people. We met so many wonderful women. Our guide was fabulous. We'll talk more about her. So it really was more of such an up close portrait look at Cuba. And and that's thanks to Marla and Miriam for their work. So so what you'll find in Cuba today, I mean, Cuba's history, and Marla can talk more about this. Cuba's history, there's been the relationship with the US has been up and down. The first time I went to Cuba was in 1993, when I was there in a journalism capacity, and things were so decrepit. You couldn't even use dollars. Everything was on the black market. I went again in 2017, and things had really opened up, and the old Havana had been restored. There's so many beautiful American cars that have been restored. They're everywhere. They weren't that way when I first gone in 93. So, and there's art, focus on art in every corner of the city and of the country. So it's a vibrant country. And what we learned is that's all in spite of the hardships, is as if they they console themselves or work through their hardships through music and art and dancing, and the warmth for Americans and other and visitors is boundless. It was just a beautiful time. You know, I thought that, okay, I love the sights of Cuba, I love the location, I love the architecture, the cars, but it's the people that stay with you. And I think that's true of all really good trips, is that relationship you have with making relationships with people in the destination. So we are going under the category of supporting the Cuban people. And that is, it's all very above board. I mean, it's completely legal. It's one of the things that the US government allows, one reason they allow travel to Cuba under that rubric. So, and our group last year brought so much for the people: medical supplies, clothing, toys for children, personal hygiene items. People came with huge extra suitcases filled with things they'd collected from their neighbors and friends as well. And one of the other ways we supported the Cuban people is meeting entrepreneurs, like this woman I met here in this right picture. She had a coffee shop. She's a jewelry maker. We went to a lot of places where we could support fledgling businesses, especially women-owned businesses. So all of that we were doing is trying to spread goodwill and make those connections with the Cuban people. And we followed to the letter the purpose of that U.S. support the Cuban people. So and so your guides here on this coming trip will be Jeannie Edmonds, who I just introduced you to, and Jeannie's also been to Cuba before, so she can talk about that. And our on the ground guide is Migdalia Carbollosa. And to a person, everybody on this trip was so in love with Migdalia because she's funny, she's insightful, she tells it like it is. She doesn't sugarcoat some of the bad things that have happened in Cuba. She's just, you get such a sense of the way people live there, and just her whole story herself, you know, it gives you more insight and compassion for what it is like to live in Cuba. So one of the great things about our trip is we stay in a really nice hotel. It's called the Aston Havana, and the Grand Aston, sorry. And it's right on the Malecon, which is, if you know a little bit about Cuba, that's the famous street along the seawall. And we are lucky that we are able to stay at this hotel. A lot of tours, if you look at other tours, you'll be staying in private homes, which has its own beauty and advantages. I mean, you're getting close to a family, but you know, on a trip like this, if you want some privacy and want some amenities with like a pool, there's a spa, right in the middle of things, very nice rooms, then we've been able to work it. Marla and Miriam have worked it so that we could be at this hotel. And we love being there, right there and there's little restaurants and shops around. So it's a gorgeous place to base ourselves. And one of the first things we do is Migdalia takes us on a walking trip tour through Old Havana. And it is just the most beautiful. The Spanish colonial architecture has been restored. We learn about the people who have pushed for the restoration. When I was there in 1994 or 93, so many buildings were crumbling. Like you were walked in and staircase. They were barely held up, but people have recognized the value of this gorgeous area. I think it's a UNESCO World Heritage Site, the whole part of Old Havana. So Migdalia will take us through the squares, the little churches, the shops, and the streets that are filled with musicians and artists. it's a great way to get a sense of the city on the first day we're there, full day that we're there. And you just cannot go to Havana without experiencing these old American cars that have been fixed up. I could not stop drooling over these cars every time I saw them. I mean, you're there for almost a week, and I saw them again and again, but every time they just made me just light up. They're so much fun. And as you can see, we arranged one night to have a whole group of them come, and we piled in. They're all convertibles, and I have a video of us driving down the Malecon and into old Havana in these convertibles. It is magical. It is a real highlight to be able to do that and to look around. And we were like a little parade. We were a NextTribe parade in Havana. And as I think I said, there's so much dancing. We saw dance performances. We took salsa classes. We went to places where we went to the places where we got on stage and danced ourselves. I mean, it was just dancing. And I mean, just look, this is Medalia here on the left, and just look at her face. That is just how everyone feels when they dance. And that's me down on this side. Just I can't stop smiling. And I wish I could say this was me here too, in the green outfit, but that's not. That is one of the fabulous dancers we saw at a show on early on in the week. We'll go. Maybe some of you have heard of the Hotel Nacional. It is just one of the icons, the landmarks of Havana. We'll go there. We'll have some mojitos. We'll study. We'll learn about the history. I think it was the setting for in The Godfather. They did one of the scenes there. It's simply fabulous, and we get to explore that. It's really the tradition of hospitality back when Havana was the go-to place from the US. People would fly down and there'd be gambling and all that really swank stuff. We have a road trip. We spend the day going out to the Vinales area. This is where the tobacco is grown for famous Cuban cigars. And we get to meet one of the tobacco farmers. He's awfully cute. We all had a crush on him. We got to, and I don't smoke. I don't really like smoking, but it's the kind of thing like, okay, I'm in Cuba. I'm going to do what they do and make, just sample everything, kind of figure out what it is about Cuban cigars, just join the fun of that whole tradition. So, and Vinales, it's about, I can't remember, 2.5, 3 hours. And the scenery is just gorgeous with limestone peaks and valleys, green valleys. I guess you can see a little bit here behind some of these women at the restaurant, because we have one of the highlights also is to go to this farm to table restaurant in Vinales, and there's a woman owner who is just a hoot. She was oh my God, she's been asked to represent Cuban women and entrepreneurs in Washington before. I mean, she's won all these awards because her food is so good, the hospitality, the setting, everything. And she had this little joke that she went to the White House, but Obama was supposed to be there to greet her, but he couldn't make it. And so she said that when Obama came to Cuba, she paid him back by not going down to see him in Cuba. So it was a great, personality who runs this restaurant. And as I was saying about the art, it's, just not just art, paintings and everything that in galleries, you see that, but you just see just art everywhere in the landscape, in the streets, in neighborhoods. It's just there's a complete devotion to artistic expression. And one of the neighborhoods is called Fusterlandia, and it's a painter, I forget his first name, but Marla will be able to tell us.
Right.
Fooster, somebody Fooster, but he does these mosaics, and I think he started in one house in a neighborhood, and everybody loved it so much that the people in the neighborhood kept asking him to do their front walls or to cover their house, to do these mosaics. And so the whole neighborhood is filled with these gorgeous, imaginative murals out of tile pieces, and it's mind-blowing. And then we also went to a place called
Yeah.
Muraleando. Thank you. And it's a community center, community where they do art, they do classes in music, a lot for children, but also for adults. It's a way to bring people together. And it's on the site of an old a massive trash pile or junk landfill. And so the people in the community were tired of seeing all that trash, so they cleaned it up. They've put so much of themselves into building that into a community center. And now it's a place to go to see artists, to dance. We definitely did some dancing, as I said. So this is just the kind of spirit of the people. I mean, these kind of things that you see, you understand the spirit of the people, where they don't necessarily want to wait for the government to do anything. They don't even believe that the government will, but they're determined to give their children more opportunities and exposure to art and all of the arts. So they do it themselves, and it's just tremendous. You know, we had so many great meals. Here at the on the left is the bartender at the Hotel Nacional. I mean, I can't even describe it. You might think, well, it's a poor country. What kind of food do they have? They really make the most incredible meals. They again, the Cuban cooking and is hold on a second.
Can I add something in there though? Because because you said that was a Hotel Nacional, which it is, but the food that's amazing is at the private restaurants, and that's where we go to, restaurants owned by entrepreneurs, and they're called paladars. So we're helping support the private individual, and we're having, I mean, these are people who, some of them studied outside of the country, culinary skills. So the food is, we've had many people come and say it's as good as the best meal you can get in New York City. So the food on the trips people are really, really surprised.
That's a great point. The paladars, yes, they are privately owned. And again, that goes with our reason for being there, is to support the local the people. And by going to these local paladars, we are indeed doing that, and we're eating really well at the same time. So thank you for that, Marla. And again, we're so much of what a NextTribe trip is meeting local women in a destination. And so Marla and Miriam made sure we got to meet fascinating women like this woman, I forget her name, Marla.
Vivian.
Who has this really high-end cigar and rum shop, right? Or business.
Yeah, she runs so Casa de los Habanos, which maybe many of you have heard of. They're all over the world. It's a tobacco store, and they're from Cuba, and so she's like the manager of like the top one in Cuba, and then on the side she has created her own business where she teaches women or groups about cigars and rum, and the purse she has in front of her, actually she made the purse out of an old cigar box, and she's a character, but she's so knowledgeable, and so we help support her.
Yes, so that, you know, everywhere we went, we were meeting women who were doing fascinating things, or were just demonstrating great strength and resilience by building a life for themselves in hardships. And so there's so much to admire about the women we met. Again, more art. The top left picture is part of the Fusterlandia, and this me posing with an artist I met in one of the I guess in Mira. Yes. Mira Leando. I can't say that now. But anyway, I bought these 3 things that are now hanging in my house. I bought so much art in Cuba. I think that's the main thing I bought. And most of it's now framed in my house for just remind me of how fabulous that place is. Again, meeting new friends everywhere we went. This picture here with Peggy Miller in the pink. She, on our trip through the Old Havana, she got to know this man who is deaf, but that does American Sign Language. She does sign language, and she's worked with deaf people all her career. So the 2 of them just became inseparable during that tour, and then they saw each other a couple more times while we were in Cuba. Down here, we got a demonstration of how to make a great mojito, and Victoria there, it became friends with her, and so it's just and not just friends there, but the group, coming together with the women you're traveling with. So just a fabulous way to get to know and become friends with other women, because you're already, by being there in Cuba, you're already like-minded. You've got that same level of curiosity and desire to embrace the world and see what's out there. So it's a way to quickly make friends. The connections there that when you on these trips are very deep, and especially here in Cuba, because we just felt so honored to be there. And what we were seeing is after, as Peggy Miller would say, she grew up hearing about Cuba and hiding under a desk in case there's during the Cuban Missile Crisis. So we all have a concept of what Cuba is based on our political history, but this going to the country and seeing for ourselves and having it explained to us in a way by our guide Medalia, it was such an indescribable experience, like one I don't think you can get anywhere else, because it was so new to us. We had heard so much about the country, but then we are actually seeing it for ourselves finally, and it was an overwhelming feeling to finally get to see it that way. And so just to some points about, just to make sure you understand about how to get there. We are legally going under the support of the Cuban people provision. As I said, the major airlines fly there. Visas are easy to get. We require you to have travel insurance, but for your trip there, I think that's yes, that's the travel insurance in case something happens to delay you or to not that you can't get there. But there's medical insurance while you're in Cuba that's taken care of by your airline ticket. And the way we do the payments for this trip a little differently because of some restrictions in the U.S. banking. You'll be paying by check instead of credit card, but Marcy is the one who keeps track of that. She's on top of the whole system. She's done it. She did it last year and learned so much. Now she's a pro. So so I don't want you to be worried about that it's more seamless than you think because we've got the system down. And Marcy, Marla, her partner Miriam are here to walk you through this the whole way. So and we'll have a couple, we've got our group together, we have a couple of meet and greets where everybody who's on the trip comes together. You get to meet some other people who are on the trip. Then we get down to the brass tacks of, okay, this is what happens next. This is what you can expect when you get off the plane. This is, just really detailed instructions so you know what to expect. Oh, well, there. So this is one of my favorite pictures. We will see you there. So let me stop sharing this, and now I can open it up for questions for anybody. And also first thing I'll do is hand it over to Marla, who is our real expert. I'm just the chatterbox here. Marla, you want to correct me on anything, or do you want to add?
No, I'm sorry. It's just
Wanna
that,
add-
I didn't want
wanna
them to think,
add
oh,
to-
we're eating. I thought it was nice for them to know that we're going to support private restaurants,
absolutely. But
and we just talked. That was all. And but no, you didn't. No, you were great on everything. You got everything. And
But-
the only thing I want to add is though, I think in traveling with a group of women, because I've done like small groups with just like 3 or 4 people, it's so much more meaningful to have more people, because you share, like you come back to the hotel at night and you can't believe what you just experienced or what you saw or what these people live through and how they make it. And it's like you've got so much feeling inside of you. You want to be able to have other women to sit around, or friends to sit around with and talk about it with, because it's a trip that really, you feel it just as much as you see it. It's palpable.
That's a good point. You feel it. That's right. Jeannie Edmonds, now you were there once, or am I wrong?
Yeah, I was there when I was working for a British television network. And when I was there, they used to paint the cars with house paint. Looks like they've got better paint now, but they used to take house
sure.
paint and paint the cars. They were really dull and flat. But I'm really excited to see all the changes there to return after, I was there many years ago. But I love it. I love Cuban music. I love Cuban food, the Cuban people. They're so much hard. And I will say that the people who went on this trip last year, you were talking about the emotion. It was laughing, crying, joy, empathy, sympathy, all the feelings, it's a truly deeply meaningful trip for us. It's not just lying on a beach. It's really connecting with the people and the destination.
Yeah, that's true. It was emotional, and we did have lots of time to just talk about, like, with each other, like, can you believe that? Or can you imagine?
Yeah.
It was, and there was just, people could not stop talking about it when they got back. So, and still to this day, we have our Cuba,
WhatsApp group.
WhatsApp group. Every trip we do, we get a WhatsApp group, and it lives on forever. So you are always with you can always be in touch with people. And most people have their, they also trade personal contacts, but you always have the WhatsApp group. And we still, whenever there's news about that related to Cuba, people will post it and comment on it. And Marla had a good point too. We're lucky to earlier, before we started this call, we're lucky in this time right now to know that we are able to go to Cuba. If Trump is elected, there is the big possibility that Cuba will be shut down again. That doesn't mean that, if you were elected, we would still be able to do our trip grandfathered in. But I'm saying that it's
In
not
the future, it might be hard. Yeah.
Not
By the way,
again.
there's a question in the chat, Jeannie. Somebody's asking if you're going.
I am not going this year. I gotta spread the love. Jeannie Edmonds is going in my place, and she's a barrel of fun.
Jeannie Jr. Y hablo español.
Yeah, her Spanish is way better than my Spanish. And you'll love her. You'll love her. Anybody else have a question? And so Joanne, you
Yes.
are already signed up. Mary and Caroline, where are you with the possibility of signing up? What can we tell you to help ease any concerns or hesitation? What are your hesitations, if at all?
For me, I very much want to do it. I have something else I'm trying to do, coordinating with it. So it's just a matter of kind of need to look at seeing how I can fit all this together. If I can fit this into a trip to Central America, I want to do the following week and kind of make all the pieces fit together. So I thought I'd just sit in today, kind of see what what it's about, but I think I have a pretty good idea. And then I just need to do some logistics on my side, but it sounds fabulous. It just really one of those once in a lifetime opportunities, I think.
Right, yes. And well, if you're going to South America, I mean, you could always,
Central, yeah. I don't know if I have to go back to Miami. I don't know. I just need
I,
to
I would,
sort of
I don't
see
know.
how it
And, you know,
fits.
we do have, maybe you have your own travel agent, but we do have a work with a travel agent at NextTribe if that's
Okay.
somebody could help you with that. Or maybe, I mean, Marla could know, I mean, I guess where they fly out of Havana, you could, yeah, where you would fly out of, you could go to Mexico for sure. So anyway,
There are many airlines that do fly out of Havana, not American Airlines, but
Mhm.
to get to Central America, you know which
Okay.
country you're going to, or as you were saying, Mary, to head back to Miami, which is going to be probably one of the easiest ways in and out of Cuba, depending where you're from, and then from there continue on to Central, maybe cheaper.
What's
yeah,
the size of the group, Jeannie?
it'll be around 20 people, so 20 women, and that's a little larger than most of our other groups, but for a variety of reasons, it's the right group for Cuba. And really, we felt I mean, last year was even bigger, but than that. I think it was 26 last year. But the way that everyone connected, the time together, we had such meaningful experiences. It felt much smaller, didn't it, Marla? I mean, it did
It
not.
did. Yeah,
And
it
you,
did not feel, I think at the beginning, everyone thought, oh, that's going to be a big group. And everyone was saying, oh, as I kind of said, it's like because everyone gets to know each other, it feels small, it feels intimate. It still feels intimate. And it's because you're sharing stuff from within. And not only you're sharing stuff about Cuba, you're still sharing stuff as women. Like it was the first time I was with NextTribe. And I, myself as a woman, at dinner time, I loved my conversation with other women that I'm just meeting. And like, this is like stuff I talk about with my best friend. Like these women became friends. So it was great. It's an awesome group to
and
travel
you
on.
can you can tell them what Migdalia said. Migdalia was a little concerned about having all women groups.
She's never had a group of all women before, and so she was nervous about it, and she loved it. I mean, she said it was her favorite group of all time, and she can't wait till next year to do it again. And she actually,
And she is doing it again. So it's not like she she didn't go like this or anything. She was like,
no.
It's just so much fun, so much fun. Okay, we have a couple of questions. Oh yeah, or Marcy was saying that she can connect you to a travel advisor. And I know Caroline, you're talking about the rooms. The rooms are all the same, and they're all have fabulous views. And I mean, I think everyone had a view of the ocean. So yeah, you're up above the Malacan, and so you see out into the ocean. I think there was a picture of a view from my hotel room. So yes, your hotel room, they're all
And
the same.
you can look up the hotel online even and see photos of it if you want to see more photos, if that gives you comfort.
Yeah. I'm not sharing anymore, am I? No. Okay. Whoops. Oh shit.
So the hotel was open about 4 years ago. It's it's one of the newest hotels. And I know Jeannie said, oh, Marla, we're going to find a way for us to stay there. Everything is legal. It's the only at the time when we started using it was the only hotel Americans could use by a loophole from our government because it wasn't on a certain list. And so many Americans stay there and they love it. They're blown away. They go, I always say we like to under promise and over deliver. And everyone just really, really loves the hotel. It's 4 or 5 star by Cuban style, meaning the water may be too hot or it may be too cold. Your room may be hot or it may be too cold. It's that sort of thing.
Yeah, it is. It's I mean, and we just ask at the hotel or the whole trip. I mean, this is Cuba. Everyone is doing their best. They're just little tiny things that maybe are a little different than what you get at a US hotel, but seriously, it's like, the towels, there was one day that we were short on towels. I mean, that's what I'm talking about, but the next day they're fine. So it's just that kind of thing, but it is you know, they are trying hard to meet all the standards that you expect in this hotel. And that, will the trip happen if less than 20 women sign up? We're pretty sure that it will. We just have to work out the logistics on that. So, and the deluxe are views of the resort. You did look online. The deluxe are views of the resort, not the ocean. While ocean rooms all have ocean. Oh, that's why you asked which room.
No, so actually there's room, so there's the ocean view and then there's on the sides. And I always get on the side because I can still see the ocean and I can see the city. So I'm wondering if you have a wrong one because there's no real resort. You can always see the city and you can see the ocean from every room, but you might not be ocean front.
But we will, I mean, I don't remember. I think everybody last year, how many rooms did we have? And everyone had a view of the water. And like you said, I
Right,
don't know if
you
we
can
were right on the ocean front, but you're a street back anyway, and it's the Molly Khan runs in front of you. There's the seawall, but you're up high, and I'll try to find that picture again from my room, but yeah, it's exquisite.
I have a just sort of practical question about, I guess, kind of logistics and security. So I usually like take nothing with me of value when I travel, but this time I'd be going to a writing seminar in Guatemala immediately afterwards. So I'd have my laptop. Are those kind of things secure in the hotel? And then the other question is just about money. Like, can we use US cash? How do you access money there? Do you bring it with you, or do they have ATMs? How does that work?
Do you want me to answer, Jeannie?
Yes, I want you.
So things are constantly changing. One thing that's always a given, no credit cards are allowed there, and there's no access to US money there. So you need to bring cash from the US. Now, when Jeannie's group when we were there, the last time I was there in April, you couldn't, even though you had to have cash with you, you couldn't pay cash at a lot of places for things. You had to buy a card, like their own debit card. So once you got to Cuba, you would buy a debit card with your dollars. Now, like I think it was about last Wednesday, a week ago, they just made an announcement in their government that now in the tourist industry, they are accepting US dollars because they're trying to get US dollars into their hands. So I will be in Cuba. Usually I'm there every few months, but right now I'm not going back until November or October. I'll be like October, November, December. So I'll be updating everybody as to what the situation is then. And even if the group's not till February and I'm not there in January, I'm in touch with people on the ground there and I'll know what other changes there have been. But so yes, you will need to bring cash with you when you travel.
Okay. And that's all like secure in the hotel? There's
There's
safes and
safes in the
things like
room.
that?
And I always have a laptop with me.
Okay.
And
Yes,
I've never had it.
yeah,
Okay.
there are safes in the room. I always have my laptop. I had my laptop, put it in this. I mean, I think even a few days I forgot to put it in the safe when I was out and about. And it was not an issue. But yes, use your safe. You know,
It's a very safe country. I think it was 2 years ago, maybe the European travel, like their big group of travel agents got together and they vote every year, like the #1 places and different things. And Cuba, they voted as the safest country to visit. So
interesting.
that's the number. Also, if people on the streets are doing things to tourists, that tourism is one of their #1 ways of income, to support the economy. So if they were doing things, there'd be a big debt to pay. So there's not a lot of petty crime. I do tell everyone they'll be smart. Don't wear diamonds. You don't want to wear diamonds in a country like this. It is third world country. So just don't be flashy. And for a purse, I always recommend, wearing one over your body, like a cross body sort of purse, and it's in front of you. I think it's safer. And then you would do that in New York City. You would do that in LA.
Yep. We have somebody else coming in. So let me see. So yeah, I think that's a great point about money. You cannot use the ATMs and you cannot use your credit card, but we worked through that last year. We didn't have issues with that. People paid cash for art, and and again, it was beautiful because we're this group. If somebody decided they they wanted to buy a lot of art and they didn't have enough cash, of course, people are gonna loan it to their friend, and then when we get back to the States, they'll Venmo you. So it's a very much a collaboration. You asked about paying for the trip through Venmo. We're keeping everything through checks right now. I mean, we're exploring. We'd like to wish that we could go through the banking system. It's just there's some risk involved, just because the banking system is a little nervous about Cuba, because the U.S. I mean, Marley, you can describe that better. It's just,
Can I jump in there? Can I
Yeah.
jump in there for a second? So the US Treasury restrictions, you know, have these exceptions that you can go for certain exceptions, and we're under one of those exceptions. But the problem with the credit card companies and the banks, they don't want to check and see who's going legitimately, who is not. So they rather just say no to everybody, right? And so last year, what we had done originally is we took these credit cards for the deposits, and then we had to return everybody's money and go to the check system because, you know, it was a big mess. So now we know how to do the check system. I don't have any checks. If you have checks, you could send a cashier, you can like figure out some other way to do checks, but it has to be check or AC. I think it can't be ACH either.
well,
Jeannie, can it?
it's
just
check, or you do,
Yeah.
bill pay. I use bill pay on my, but the main thing is you just do not write Cuba anywhere.
Right.
Wait a minute. So Caroline's saying that Venmo is from her checking account. That's an
Right.
interesting
I
thing.
think
We
you,
need to-
You
you
can
guys will
use,
check into that, but it's just like giving.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll
well,
look into that, Caroline.
the main thing is that you just, if what we discussed is you just, the reason we do checks is that if somebody wrote Cuba on it, we would send it back to you and say, resend a check with, that doesn't say Cuba on it. If you put in Venmo and you mistakenly put in
Right.
Cuba, it might flag something. So
Yeah.
It will freeze your bank accounts. We've
Oh,
had bank
yeah,
accounts
right.
frozen. That's what's going to happen. So that's the reason we as well don't accept a bank transfer, because we did one time, and Jeannie, you hit the nail on the head. We told them it was a school, and we said you can, and we told the person we're working with at the school, but the accounting department put the word Cuba on it. So you're very wise, just maybe across the board, just to say checks only.
Yeah.
And also, Carolyn, if you pay one payment and pay for everything at once versus a payment plan over, 9 months or whatever, you do get a 3% discount on the cost of the trip. So then you only have to do that one time, go to your bank and get the cashier's check or whatever you need to do, or transfer, and just be done, and you don't have to worry about it.
does that help? Let's see if and Eleanor, we are welcoming you. Hello, Eleanor. That's okay. You can just sit back and listen. Eleanor, we started at 6:30 and we did a presentation with all the photos and so forth, and went through the itinerary. And Marcy will be sending out a recording of this session to anyone who is signed up via Eventbrite, so you can watch it. But and I want you to just know that once you sign up, I mean, Joanne's already signed up, but once you are signed up and we get our group together, we have at least 2 sessions where we meet and we talk through everything. And we don't, if you ask the same question at each time, we understand there's a lot. So we really want to make it easy for you, make it comfortable, that we know that it's not your average place to go, but then it's not your average place to experience. I mean, what your experience is above average. So it's definitely worth it. Whatever these small steps are, is definitely worth it. So we hope that you'll join us. Eleanor, there you are. Can you say hi? Oh, but we have to be.
There we go.
Hi, Eleanor.
Sorry.
Where are you?
Sorry.
Where are you based?
Actually, I live in Luxembourg, but right now I am visiting my mom in Virginia Beach area.
Oh, my gosh,
So-
okay. So are you thinking of coming with us from Luxembourg?
I am. I'm actually joining the Vietnam trip from Luxembourg as
wow.
well. That'll be my first NextTribe trip. I'm very, very psyched for it.
And Jeannie Edmonds is gonna be on that trip here, so Jeannie, say hi.
Great.
Hello,
Jeannie.
can't wait to meet you. Great.
Nice to meet you.
And then-
Eleanor, your last name Hilly, Hille?
It's Hilly, yeah.
Okay, yeah, I
Okay.
recognize your name. I'm Marcy, hi.
I've
Hi,
seen,
Marcy.
I've seen your name, so good. So you'll be able to watch this, Eleanor, but any questions you have or any hesitations you have about signing up for Cuba?
Absolutely no hesitations at all. There probably are questions. I was out at another appointment that I got back later than I expected. So sorry for being late joining in this, but I'll plan on watching the video. And yeah, no, really looking forward to it.
And you haven't signed up already. Have you?
Sorry.
Have you signed up yet for Cuba? Eleanor?
I can't hear you.
Oh, okay. Ooh, can everybody else hear me?
I think she has signed up for Cuba. Yeah, I think she has.
Oh, okay. Okay, I didn't know. So, sorry you can't hear us. We can hear you, but that doesn't help.
I can't hear you. I'm not sure what happened.
Eleanor.
Maybe I muted you by mistake. I think, I don't know. I have a cat up here keeping me company. I think he muted it. I'm blaming the cat.
Okay, so if there aren't any other questions, we do a little drawing where I take everybody's name who's on this, and somebody's going to get $400 off. So I have these papers. This is who's here, and I put them in here. Doodly-doo. Oopsie, mixing them up. Okay. Oh, I have Thompson. I have Mary Thompson. So Mary, if you sign up, you'll get $400 off the trip.
Awesome.
Oh.
I did have one more quick question about visas. Do we do that individually? You send us the paperwork, or does that get submitted as a group? How does that piece work?
Marla, we're going to have a slightly different system this
Right.
year.
So this year, everyone's getting it on their own. And so the way to do it is the airline you buy it from, they sell them, or you can go to Cuba Visa Services, because like American Airline gets it through Cuba Visa Services. That's how I get mine. I go online to cubavisaservices.com. It will ask, your information. It's very simple. And
We'll walk
then,
you through, right? We'll
yeah, there's even nothing it's one page, and that's
Okay.
it asks you the date of your travel, the reason you're going, which is support of the Cuban people, and I think your flight information, that because they want to make sure you get your flight, so you wouldn't book it until after you've booked your flight. And then I don't remember the price. I think it's $80 or $85, and they mail it right to you, and you want to do it a few weeks prior, and that's it.
Okay. Great.
And the other thing is, if you haven't signed up yet and you're thinking of it, the price is going up on August 1st, which is a week from today, I believe, or a week from tomorrow. So this is our early bird. We're still in the early bird stage. So be an early bird. Get the worm. Well, good. Okay, Marcy, you have Mary Thompson's name. And Mary, how that works is when you sign up, you just pay the deposit, and then Marcy will deduct the $400 from your future, any future payments. Well, she'll make it right, but you pay the deposit by check. So anyway, you'll know before you even the final balance. You'll know before you even send a check. I forgot. So Marcy will work with you on that.
Yeah, I'll send an
Okay.
invoice. I send an invoice as soon as you book to everyone, and it'll list the payment dates and the amounts and the total price for your trip and everything, so you can see it all on one page. And That's how you can pay.
And I am just one more thing. I'll just put this in the chat. I put in the link to the hotel, but also put our link into to the listing on our if you want to just check it out again. It's a really great itinerary. Lots of are we meeting some women
Rappers. Yes.
rappers, women rappers
Yeah,
this year?
the two women that have, like, they're very well known in Cuba, and they speak about women's rights and in their rapping. And Migdalia, actually, I don't know if you remember, but the son of one of them was at Muraliando teaching, I think, drums last year.
Oh, wow. Okay, cool.
And so it's just a very musical family, and so they're friends. So we will be there in the morning, and they'll we'll have a conversation with them, learn about the arts, the music, their role, and then from there we're going to go to Muraliando from there that day. So we'll have a musical morning, and then continue into Guanabo to the beach that day.
Yes, that we do have
So-
beach time because we're supporting the people on the beach.
It's very
Well, you guys
important.
really did. You bought food from them. You were musicians. You were getting massages. I think you guys did. You really did support the Cuban people.
Yeah, we really
And that's
did.
something we'll talk more about later once your group signs up. It's just you talked about it, that it's a meaningful trip, and one of the reasons it makes it so meaningful is because the little things that are so simple to us. I mean, aspirins. You go to a dollar bill store and take $30 to a dollar bill store, and you've got not 30 items anymore, 25 items. These are things that they can't buy there. Whether it's I just said aspirin or toothpaste or spatulas. There's been the inflation in Cuba has been insane the past years. I mean, actually, around 3 weeks ago, they even talked about, Jeannie, I don't know if you saw this, that like the vice president of the country, Marrero, I think his name is, there were 6 items he had to cap the price on, from eggs, pasta. I can't remember because, and this is interesting too. I should send you the article. Frozen chicken, which you might have seen in a store, frozen chicken, which should be worth $19 in the Cuban store. And still, if a doctor makes $80 a month, so to buy a package of chicken is super expensive, right? But if someone doesn't have access to dollars so that they can exchange it on the black market and be able to get it at that $19, and they can only buy it with the pesos that they're paid from the government, it was worth $450 is how much that one bag of chicken would be. Yeah, it's crazy what's going on there right now. And even 2 days ago was just an article in the Miami Herald, a big article about since 2022, they've lost like 18% of their population. And they can track the numbers because of what's coming into Miami. And it's a time they really need our support right now. I mean, so the little things that you ladies would bring, even nylons and socks that you haven't worn, you're thinking, what are you going to do? No one's going to want this. They will. People who work in hotels need nylons and they can't buy them there. So it's do good, you do good, and you feel good.
Yes, and yes, that's a great point. So there's so much that they can't get, but they're trying hard to eke out a life there. We can help them do that, and we get to enjoy what they do, what they bring to the country: music, art, beautiful souls, welcoming attitude. So it is meaningful because these are real people and they're so close to us, and it's hard to believe that is going on right on our doorstep, and you'll be there and you'll just be what can I do to help? I want to help. But they have a lot of pride at the same time. They're very proud of their country, their culture, maybe not their government, but they're proud of their culture, and they have good reason to be. So you'll see that. Anyway, if there's nothing else, no other questions, then I hope you'll be able to go with us, and please be in touch with Marcy if you have other questions, and she'll funnel them to the right person. But it's fabulous, fabulous trip. Okay. Anything
Really
else?
looking forward to it.
Good.
Thanks, ladies.
Thank you so much, everybody, for coming. It's a great time to see you. Bye.
Take care, ladies.
Bye.
Thank you, Marla. Thank you, Jeannie.
No.